Welcome back to Ride Zone Bikes. Today we're diving deep into a motorcycle that has always stood apart from the crowd and now returns with a refreshed identity for modern riders, the 2026 Suzuki VanVan 200, a bike that doesn't chase speed records or spec sheet bragging rights but instead celebrates simplicity, character, and real-world usability. And from the very first glance the VanVan tells you that this is not a conventional street bike because its low stance, balloon-style tires, relaxed proportions, and minimalist philosophy are all about freedom and approachability rather than aggression, making it instantly appealing to new riders, urban commuters, beach cruisers, and anyone who values stress-free motorcycling. And Suzuki has stayed true to that spirit while subtly refining the formula for 2026, starting with the familiar 199 cubic centimeters air-cooled single-cylinder engine that remains the heart of the VanVan, tuned for smooth power delivery and long-term reliability rather than outright performance, producing usable torque right from low RPMs so you don't need to constantly downshift or rev the engine hard, which makes city riding incredibly easy and forgiving, especially for beginners, and paired with a 5-speed gearbox that shifts smoothly and predictably, the VanVan feels friendly whether you're crawling through traffic, cruising along coastal roads, or exploring light off-road trails. And while this engine won't win drag races, it excels at being approachable and economical, delivering excellent fuel efficiency that often exceeds expectations, allowing riders to go days between fill ups thanks to the modest fuel consumption and lightweight overall package. And Suzuki's decision to retain fuel injection ensures consistent throttle response, easy cold starts, and compliance with modern emission standards without sacrificing the classic feel of the bike. And speaking of feel, one of the most defining aspects of the VanVan 200 is its riding position. Because the low seat height makes it incredibly confidence-inspiring for riders of all sizes, especially shorter riders who struggle with tall adventure or dual sport bikes, and with the wide handlebars, upright posture, and relaxed footpeg placement, the VanVan encourages long, comfortable rides without wrist or back strain, turning even short commutes into enjoyable experiences. And the suspension setup, while simple, is perfectly matched to the bike's personality, with a conventional telescopic front fork and rear monoshock tuned for comfort rather than stiffness, soaking up potholes, broken pavement, and gravel roads with ease. And this is where the VanVan's iconic fat tires truly shine, because those oversized balloon tires not only give the bike its unmistakable retro scrambler look but also provide excellent stability and traction on loose surfaces like sand, dirt, and wet roads, making it surprisingly capable beyond the city limits, and for riders living near beaches, rural areas, or places with poor road conditions, the VanVan feels almost tailor-made. And when it comes to braking, Suzuki keeps things simple yet effective with a front disc brake and rear drum brake combination, offering predictable stopping power that suits the bike's modest performance. And while you won't find advanced electronics like traction control or riding modes here, that's exactly the point, because the VanVan is about pure, uncomplicated riding, free from distractions and over-engineering. And visually, the 2026 Suzuki VanVan 200 continues to embrace its retro-modern design language, blending classic elements with subtle contemporary touches, such as the round headlamp, simple instrument cluster, flat seat, and exposed frame lines, all contributing to a timeless aesthetic that feels just as at home parked outside a cafe as it does cruising along a dirt path. And Suzuki offers fresh color schemes for 2026 that enhance the bike's personality, often featuring earthy tones, matte finishes, and contrasting seat colors that highlight its laid-back, lifestyle-oriented appeal. And despite its retro look, the build quality feels solid and well-finished, reflecting Suzuki's reputation for durability and attention to detail. And when you're riding the VanVan, you quickly realize that this bike isn't about rushing to your destination but about enjoying the journey, because at cruising speeds the engine feels relaxed and smooth, the exhaust note is mellow and unobtrusive, and the overall vibe encourages you to slow down and take in your surroundings, which is something many modern motorcycles have lost in their pursuit of performance and technology, and this makes the VanVan an excellent choice for riders who want a second bike dedicated to leisure riding, or for newcomers who want to build confidence without feeling intimidated. And from a practical standpoint, the VanVan also scores points with its lightweight construction, making it easy to maneuver in tight spaces, park in crowded areas, and handle at low speeds, and maintenance is straightforward thanks to the simple engine design, widely available Suzuki parts, and a proven platform that has earned a reputation for longevity over the years. And while highway performance is not its strongest suit, with higher speeds feeling strained due to the small displacement and lack of wind protection, the VanVan was never designed to be a highway cruiser, and within its intended environment it excels beautifully. And now, let's talk about pricing, because one of the biggest strengths of the 2026 Suzuki VanVan 200 is its accessibility, with an expected global price range that sits comfortably below many modern retro and adventure bikes, making it an attractive option for budget-conscious riders who still want a unique and character-filled motorcycle. And depending on the market, the price is expected to land around the entry-level segment, offering tremendous value for a bike that delivers charm, usability, and reliability in equal measure. And when you consider the low running costs, excellent fuel economy, and minimal insurance expenses, the VanVan becomes even more appealing as a daily rider or weekend escape machine. And what truly sets the VanVan apart from competitors is its personality, because in a world full of sharp, aggressive, and overly complex motorcycles, the VanVan proudly remains simple, friendly, and fun, appealing to riders who value experience over specs and authenticity over trends. And for custom builders, the VanVan also provides a fantastic platform for personalization, with its simple frame and classic proportions lending themselves well to scrambler, tracker, or minimalist custom builds, allowing owners to truly make the bike their own. And ultimately the 2026 Suzuki VanVan 200 is not trying to be everything for everyone, but what it does offer, it delivers exceptionally well: a relaxed riding experience, unique design, approachable performance, and a sense of freedom that reminds us why we fell in love with motorcycles in the first place, making it a perfect fit for riders who want to slow down, explore side roads, and enjoy riding for the sheer joy of it. And that's what makes the VanVan more than just a motorcycle, it's a lifestyle statement. And that wraps up our in-depth look at the 2026 Suzuki VanVan 200 here on Ride Zone Bikes. If you enjoyed this detailed breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and let us know in the comments whether the VanVan's relaxed, retro charm speaks to you, or if you prefer something more aggressive. Until next time, ride safe and keep the passion alive.